the intersection of 10th Street and Broadway in downtown Tulsa. 3:47 in the afternoon, November 8, 1996. Cold rain turning to sleet. Most people walked past the homeless man sitting against the brick wall of the old First National Bank building. He'd been there since morning, cardboard sign propped against his knees, cup extended toward passing strangers who looked through him like he was invisible. His name was Marcus Webb, 63 years old, Vietnam veteran, 3 years living on these streets. His sign said the same thing every day. Hungry veteran. Anything helps. God bless. Most people gave nothing. Some dropped quarters. A few gave dollar bills. Marcus had learned not to expect much, not to hope for kindness, because hope hurt more than hunger when it was crushed. At 3:48, a white BMW pulled up to the curb. Marcus didn't look up. Rich people rarely stopped for beggars. The car door opened. Footsteps approached. Marcus glanced up and recognized him immediately. Tommy Morrison, the boxer, the Duke, the white kid from Oklahoma who'd beaten George Foreman, who'd fought for the heavyweight championship, whose face was on magazines and television, who'd starred in that Rocky movie. Tommy was wearing an expensive leather jacket, designer jeans, boots that probably cost more than Marcus earned in 6 months of begging. He stopped directly in front of Marcus, stared down at him for a long moment. Marcus had seen that look before. Disgust, judgment. Rich people measuring poor people and finding them lacking? "Excuse me," Tommy said. His voice was quieter than Marcus expected. "You got $1 I could borrow?" Marcus blinked, confused. The heavyweight boxer was asking him for money. "Sir, I'm the one who needs the dollar." "I know. I'm asking anyway. Do you have $1 you could give me?" Marcus reached into his cup, pulled out a crumpled dollar bill. One of 3 he'd collected all day. He handed it to Tommy. Tommy took the dollar, looked at it carefully, then looked back at Marcus. "Thank you. What's your name?" "Marcus." "Marcus Webb." Tommy nodded. "Wait here, Marcus. 10 minutes. Don't move. I'll be right back." Then Tommy turned and walked quickly down the street, disappearing around the corner. Marcus sat there, confused, cold, wondering what had just happened, wondering if the famous boxer was making fun of him, some kind of joke rich people play on homeless veterans. 10 minutes passed. Marcus was about to stand up, move to a different corner, forget the whole strange interaction. Then he heard it. Voices. Lots of voices. Footsteps. Marcus looked up and saw them coming. 20, 30, maybe 40 people walking down 10th Street toward him. Tommy Morrison was in front, leading them. Behind him, men and women of all ages, carrying bags, boxes, blankets, food. The crowd grew as they walked. People coming out of shops, restaurants, offices, joining the procession. By the time they reached Marcus, there were over 80 people. The entire street had stopped. Cars pulled over. Pedestrians stood watching. Tommy knelt down next to Marcus. His eyes were wet. "Marcus, I need to tell you something. I've been watching you for 3 weeks. Every day I drive past this corner on my way to the gym. Every day I see you sitting here. Every day I see people walk past you like you don't exist. And every day I think about my father." Tommy's voice cracked. Marcus could see tears forming. "My father was a veteran too. Korea. He came home broken. PTSD, they call it now. Back then, they just called men like him weak. He tried to hold it together, worked construction, raised 3 boys, held his pain inside until it killed him. Heart attack at 51. He died believing he was a failure because he couldn't stop the nightmares, couldn't make the memories go away." Tommy wiped his eyes. "When I see you, Marcus, I see my father. I see the man who taught me to fight, who taught me to stand up, who never got the help he needed because this country doesn't take care of its soldiers after the shooting stops. And I see all the times I walked past men like you and did nothing. All the times I had money in my pocket and kept walking. All the times I told myself their problems weren't my responsibility. Tommy pulled out the dollar Marcus had given him. You just gave me your last dollar. A homeless veteran gave a millionaire his last dollar because I asked. That's the kind of man you are, Marcus. That's the kind of sacrifice veterans make. You give everything even when you have nothing left. So I'm giving back. Tommy stood up, gestured to the crowd behind him. In 10 minutes, I went to every business on this street. The restaurant on the corner, the clothing store, the hotel, the bank, the bookshop. I told them about you. I told them about my father. I asked them to help. And they came. A woman stepped forward from the crowd. Manager of the Tulsa Grand Hotel. We have a room for you, Marcus. Rent-free for 6 months. A man in a business suit. First National Bank. We're setting up an account in your name. $5,000 to start. Get you back on your feet. Another woman. Riverside Medical Center. Full medical exam, dental work, mental health counseling, whatever you need. Veterans Affairs, liaison. We're expediting your benefits, Marcus. Should have been getting them years ago. The system failed you. We're fixing it. A restaurant owner, free meals, anytime, every day, for life. Clothing store manager, full wardrobe, interview clothes, winter coat, whatever you need. The crowd kept coming forward. Job offers, transportation, phone service, furniture for when Marcus got his apartment. The entire street had mobilized in 10 minutes, all because Tommy Morrison had asked. Marcus sat against that wall, overwhelmed, tears streaming down his face. He couldn't speak, couldn't process what was happening. After 3 years of invisibility, of being ignored and stepped over and dismissed, suddenly 80 people saw him, saw his humanity, saw his worth. Tommy knelt down again, put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. My father died thinking he didn't matter. Died thinking his service didn't count. Died alone and broken because nobody helped. I can't bring him back, but I can help you. We can help you. This whole street can help you. Marcus finally found his voice. Why? Why me? Tommy looked at him directly. Because you're not invisible. Because your service matters. Because what happened to you in Vietnam, what happened to you after you came home, what this country did to you by abandoning you, that's not okay. And because when I asked you for your last dollar, you gave it. No questions, no hesitation. That's who you are. That's the man worth saving. Over the next 2 hours, the crowd on 10th Street grew to over 200 people. News cameras arrived. Local television stations covered the story. But this wasn't about publicity. Tommy refused interviews, redirected every question to Marcus, to veterans' issues, to systemic failures. By 6 in the evening, Marcus Webb was no longer homeless. He had a hotel room, a bank account, medical care scheduled, job interviews lined up, and something more valuable than any of it. He had a community. The hotel manager walked Marcus to his room on the 4th floor. It wasn't a basic room, it was a suite. King bed, full bathroom, television, kitchen area. Marcus stood in the doorway, unable to enter. This is too much. No, the manager said. This is what you should have had 3 years ago. What you should have had the day you came home from war. This country owes you more than a hotel room. But it's a start. That night, Marcus took his first hot shower in 3 years. slept in a real bed, woke up the next morning and cried because he thought it had been a dream. But it wasn't. On the dresser was a note from Tommy. "Marcus, this is just the beginning. Breakfast downstairs at 9. We're going shopping, getting you fitted for suits. Then we're going to the VA together, making sure you get every benefit you're owed. You're not alone anymore. Tommy." Over the next 3 months, Tommy Morrison became personally involved in Marcus Webb's recovery, drove him to medical appointments, sat with him during counseling sessions, helped him prepare for job interviews, introduced him to other veterans who'd struggled with homelessness and PTSD. On February 14, 1997, 3 months after that moment on 10th Street, Marcus Webb started his first day of work as a Veterans Outreach Coordinator at the Tulsa VA Medical Center. His job was to find homeless veterans, connect them with services, be the bridge between the street and the system. He was perfect for it. He understood both worlds. Within his first year, Marcus helped 67 homeless veterans get housing, benefits, medical care. Within 3 years, that number was over 200. He became one of the most effective outreach coordinators in Oklahoma. But the story didn't end with Marcus. Tommy Morrison used his platform differently after that day. He started speaking at high schools, colleges, veterans organizations, always telling the story of Marcus Webb, always asking the same question. How many Marcus Webbs do you walk past every day? How many invisible veterans are sitting on your street right now, waiting for someone to see them? In 1998, Tommy helped establish the Morrison Veterans Fund, a nonprofit dedicated to getting homeless veterans off the streets. They opened a shelter in Tulsa, then Oklahoma City, then 4 more across the state. The fund helped over 1,500 veterans in its first 5 years. But Tommy's story took a dark turn. In February 1996, he tested positive for HIV. His boxing career ended. His fame faded. The same media that had celebrated him turned harsh, judgmental. Many people abandoned him, but not Marcus Webb. When Tommy's diagnosis became public, when sponsors dropped him, when opportunities disappeared, Marcus was there. He visited Tommy regularly, reminded him that one act of kindness had changed hundreds of lives, reminded him that his worth wasn't measured by championships or movie roles, but by the lives he'd touched. On September 1st, 2013, Tommy Morrison died from complications related to AIDS. He was 44 years old. At his funeral, over 500 people attended. Many were veterans Marcus had helped, who Tommy had indirectly saved. They stood in that church and told stories about the boxer who'd seen the invisible, who'd turned $1 into a movement, who'd proven that 10 minutes of compassion could change the world. Marcus Webb, now 79 years old, gave the eulogy. He stood at the podium, looked out at the crowd, and spoke. Tommy Morrison gave me my life back, not with money, not with fame, with attention, with the simple act of seeing me as human, of asking for my last dollar, and then giving back 1,000 times more. People remember Tommy as a fighter, as the Duke, as Rocky's protege. But I remember him as the man who stopped his car, who knelt down next to a homeless veteran, who asked, "Why should I walk past you when my father died alone and forgotten?" Tommy's father was a veteran who never got help. Tommy made sure thousands of veterans did get help. That's his legacy. Not the championships, the lives. Today, the Morrison Veterans Fund still operates 6 shelters across Oklahoma. They've helped over 5,000 veterans transition from homelessness to stability. In downtown Tulsa, on the corner of 10th Street and Broadway, there's a bronze plaque on the sidewalk. Installed in 2014, it reads, On this spot, November 8, 1996, heavyweight champion Tommy Morrison stopped for veteran Marcus Webb. $1, 10 minutes, 80 lives changed. Remember, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Pay attention. Show kindness. Be the person who stops. Every year on November 8th, veterans gather at that corner. They tell the story to young people who don't remember Tommy Morrison. They explain what happened that cold afternoon. They collect donations for homeless veterans. They look for the invisible ones. Marcus Webb, now 86, still speaks at these annual gatherings. His message never changes. Tommy asked me for my last dollar. I gave it because that's what you do. You help when asked. But Tommy gave me something worth more than money. He gave me visibility, gave me dignity, gave me proof that my service mattered, that my life mattered, that I wasn't forgotten. If this story teaches anything, it's this. You have 10 minutes right now. 10 minutes to see someone invisible. 10 minutes to change a life. 10 minutes to be the person who stops instead of walking past. Tommy Morrison had fame and money, but his greatest achievement was 10 minutes of attention given to a man everyone else ignored. That's not about being rich. That's about being human. So I ask you, who are you walking past today? Who's sitting on your corner right now, invisible, forgotten, hoping someone will stop? You don't need to be a champion. You just need 10 minutes and the willingness to see. That's all Tommy had. That's all it took. Marcus Webb passed away in 2019 at age 86. In his will, he left everything to the Morrison Veterans Fund. It wasn't much money, but attached was a letter. This fund exists because Tommy Morrison asked me for $1. I give back what I can. Keep helping the invisible ones. Keep stopping. Keep seeing. Keep being what the system should have been. The story of Tommy Morrison and Marcus Webb isn't about boxing. It's about the moment when someone with everything asked someone with nothing to give. And both men's lives changed forever. $1, 10 minutes. One act of attention that created a movement spanning decades. That's not a miracle. That's just what happens when you stop walking past.